Chapter 1191. The next day, History held a press conference again, saying that there had been an accident the day before, which was why the press conference had been postponed. Zailing's studio. Gong Shangze looked at the news headline on the computer screen, and a cold glint flashed across his eyes. Director Gong, is this another one of your designs? Han Momo asked tentatively. Gong Shangze nodded, but there was no anger in his eyes. And it's my earliest work. Some of his early works, though immature, had a childishness and naivety that long-time designers didn't have. No matter how much experience and practice a designer had, they couldn't imitate such a feeling, and it was this feeling that made this set of designs even more valuable. Sure enough, the comments on the internet weren't as stunning and overflowing as Zailing's, but the reviews for History's set of designs were pretty good. Ningxi chuckled. This guy doesn't have much left. It'll only get harder in the future. If I remember correctly, there are still some manuscripts that I'm most proud of. I guess he's saving them for a critical moment. Gong Shangze said. Oh yeah, Director Gong. Even if you can't remember all of your previous designs, you should at least remember some that left a deep impression, right? Can we publish them before he does? Han Momo suddenly asked. Gong Shangze shook his head. My manuscripts and electronic manuscripts are all with him, and they have dates on them. If I publish them before he does, I'll only be seen as a plagiarist. Not only that, I have to work hard to get rid of the style and elements of my previous designs. I can't clash with my stolen designs. Fuck, that's so cheap. Han Momo was furious. Just as Ningxi was about to speak, her phone rang. It was Lin Jiji. Hello, Sister Jiji? There's a celebrity charity dinner tonight. Attend it, and remember to prepare a suitable charity auction item. It doesn't have to be too expensive or too eye-catching. I'll ask Xiao Tao to accompany you. Okay, got it. Ningxi hung up and looked at Gong Shangze and the others. Keep it up, babies. I'm going to start too. You too, boss. Han Momo cheered. Oh yeah, boss. When will the new movie you mentioned be released? It's been delayed a little because of scheduling issues, but it'll be out soon. Yes, when the time comes, I will definitely ask everyone around me to go and support. When Han Momo said this, she probably didn't expect that it would be so hard to get a ticket. Not only did she fail, but she also had to ask Ningxi to open the back door for her to get a few movie tickets. Thanks. Today's charity banquet was hosted by a large domestic luxury brand. Big shots from the entertainment industry, as well as celebrities from the political and business world, had been invited. It was the biggest charity banquet of the year, and the entire venue was filled with stars. Many big shots from the political and business world had also come. Ningxi brought along the items she had prepared for the charity auction, and Xiao Tao followed behind her. The moment she stepped into the venue, her vision blurred, and she seemed to see a familiar figure. Cloud depths? How could this be? Ningxi's gaze pierced through the crowd and stared at the back of the man who had just walked past. She wanted to see the man's hair color, but the man was soon buried in the crowd accompanied by his bodyguards. YS equals Satan equals cloud deep equals cloud radish. Chapter 1192. Sister Shi, what are you looking at? Little Peach asked suspiciously. Why would that guy come to a charity dinner? That must be a joke. Ningxi shook her head and stopped thinking about it. Nothing. Let's go. Ningxi had been wearing Zailing's clothes on many occasions. Because this occasion was more important, Ningxi didn't choose ready-made clothes. Instead, she wore a high-end custom-made dress. Han Momo had urged her to wear the signature dress, but Ningxi refused. She couldn't control the signature dress with her current identity, whether it was for Hero Luo or Shangsheng. But one day, she would need the signature dress. As Ningxi walked inside, she bumped into Ning Shuelua. The set that Ning Shuelua was wearing was obviously the set that History had just announced yesterday. Su Yin came along with Ning Shuelua. Ning Shuelua's gown was decorated with handmade flowers, like the Garden of Eden in a fairy tale world. It made her look pure, innocent, delicate, and cute. Su Yin, who was beside her, was dressed in an elegant white suit. He looked as gentle as jade. The two of them looked like a perfect match. Xiaoxi, you're here too. Ning Shuelua recognized her at a glance. Are you wearing Zailing's clothes today? They look good. Don't you think so, Brother Yin? Ningxi had worn Ling's clothes the last time she went to the Ning family. At that time, Zhuang Lingyu and Ning Yaohua had scolded her for siding with an outsider. If it was a coincidence last time, then Ningxi had worn Ling's clothes this time. It could be said that it was completely intentional. Ning Xuelua deliberately said these words with a sad and lonely look on her face. Obviously, she was doing it for Su Yin. However, Su Yin, who was usually so attentive, didn't notice Ning Xuelua's emotions at this moment. Instead, his eyes fell on Ningxi. Ningxi was wearing a white Chinese-style gown with blue and red embroidery. The color of the gown was gradually changing. There were coral embroidery and translucent chiffon. She looked like a fairy. The person in front of him was so close, but she gave him the illusion that she was so far away that he couldn't even touch her. This feeling inexplicably made his heart skip a beat. Su Yin was stunned for a long time before he came back to his senses. He nodded and said, "Yeah, it's very nice." Ning Xuelua noticed Su Yan's absent-mindedness, and a cold gleam flickered across her eyes. Then she took Su Yan's arm intimately with a smile and said to Ningxi, "Cici, in addition to the charity auction items donated by the stars, there will be several final auction items prepared by the organizers. One of them is a crown called Queen. I like it very much. Brother Yin said he would buy it for me and use it in my wedding. Oh, by the way, Brother Yin and I are about to get engaged. Sister, you must come." Engagement? Ningxi raised her eyebrows slightly. How could he get engaged so soon regardless of the fact that his career was on the rise? Looks like he's really anxious because of the will. When Xiao Tao heard Ning Xuelua call Ningxi elder sister, she couldn't help but reveal a suspicious look. Why do I feel that the atmosphere between the three of them is weird? Also, Ning Xuelua was getting engaged. Unexpectedly, he found out big news. An engagement party? Ningxi murmured. "Yes, elder sister, you'll come?" "Sorry, I've been busy recently. Next time. I'll definitely go next time," Ningxi said with a smile, and then turned to leave. Xiao Tao was stunned for a moment, and then she almost burst out laughing. Behind her, Ning Xuelua's face turned green. Next engagement? Damn it. She was clearly cursing her for a divorce. Chapter 1193. Su Yin was stunned when he heard that. Then, he realized what was going on and his face darkened. Ning Xuelua was about to complain to Su Yin when a group of reporters surrounded her. She calmed herself down and answered their questions with a smile. "Xuelua, did you prepare any special items for the auction today?" "Nothing special. It's just some personal jewelry. It's Xueluo's personal jewelry. I reckon that it will definitely cause people to raise the prices later. I remember last year, Xueluo, you casually untied a ribbon from your wrist and it was sold for 1,000,000. The reporters present all complimented. "We're all doing it for charity." Then, "Xuelua, do you have anything you want to auction today?" "I do have one. Everyone will know later. It's been a long time since Mr. Su proposed. When will we be able to attend your wedding?" Ning Xuelua glanced at Su Yin shyly and said, "Soon. I'll inform everyone when the time comes." After Ning she entered the hall, the celebrities were chatting enthusiastically. On the stage in front, the host and the auctioneer were preparing for the auction. "Sister Shi, I'll send the items for auction over," Xiao Tao said. Ningxi nodded. "Go ahead." Because of her status, it was not suitable for her to send anything too expensive. Therefore, Ningxi chose a jade bracelet that was worth about 30,000 yuan and donated it. Ningxi adjusted the hem of her dress and found a random seat to sit down. After a while, Xiao Tao returned and handed her a number tag. Every guest had one of these tags. It was used during the auction. However, Ningxi did not have anything in particular that she wanted to bid for today, so she probably would not need it. After the guests gathered, the host said warmly on the stage, "Dear guests, welcome to our annual Celebrity Charity Gala. Our theme this time is, Let Charity Become Fashion." After a simple opening speech and the speeches of the celebrities and philanthropists, the gala entered the charity auction segment. The first segment was the auction of the items donated by the celebrities. Some of the items donated by the celebrities were branded bags that they endorsed, some commemorative clothes, and some personal jewelry. Because it was a charity donation, there was no base price. However, the final price would be higher than the original price. and the price was largely linked to the celebrity's status and fame. Because of the schedule, Su Yimo from Shengshi Entertainment was not present this time, so Ning Shuelua was the center of attention. What's more, she was attending the event with Su Yin in a high-profile manner today. One was the leading actress of Starlight Entertainment, the daughter of the Ning family, and the other was the most popular celebrity in the capital's upper-class circle, the Su family. The two of them naturally attracted everyone's attention. The next item is the diamond bracelet that Miss Ning Shuelua always wears. There is no reserve price, so please start bidding. As soon as Ning Shueluo's item was brought out, the crowd immediately began to call out the price. 100,000, 120,000, 180,000, 500,000. A wealthy businessman with a beer belly directly offered a high price of 500,000, causing an uproar at the scene. The original price of Ning Shuelua's bracelet was at most 200,000 to 300,000, but the wealthy businessman did not raise the price from low to high. He actually doubled the original price. Sorry, my babies are not in a good state today. I've been sleepy and want to sleep. I'll put down the chapter for now. I'll try to get up early tomorrow. Chapter 1194. Even so, the enthusiasm of the bidding didn't decrease at all, and they were all increasing the price by more than 100,000, 600,000, 700,000, 1 million, 1 million, 2 million. Although Ning Shuelua and Su Yin were a well-known couple, Ning Shuelua still had an endless stream of admirers and pursuers. Seeing Ning Shuelua and Su Yin together, many men raised the price out of jealousy. Coupled with the celebrities who supported the Ning and Su families, the price had exceeded 1 million, and it was still increasing, breaking Ning Shuelua's own record last year. Many of the female celebrities showed an envious expression. Tisk, it's good to have a family background. Wherever she goes, people will protect her. Even her husband is a celebrity of equal status. Unlike us, we've done all kinds of dirty things, but we're still just a plaything in the eyes of those celebrities. She was lucky to be reincarnated. She was born with a silver spoon in her mouth. How can she be compared to us? 5 million. At this moment, number 60 raised his paddle. Number 60. Mr. Su raised his paddle. 5 million. Mr. Su bid 5 million. Is there anyone else who wants to bid? Is there anyone else? On the stage, the auctioneer shouted excitedly to the audience. It was Su Yin who made the bid. Su Yin actually bid 5 million in one go. There was an uproar. Since Ning Shuelua's lover had come out and offered such a high price at once, those who had supported her just now naturally stopped bidding. As for Ning Shuelua's admirers, they were all respectable people. They wouldn't really fight for Ning Shuelua's affection on such an occasion. They could only reluctantly take back their signs. Is there anyone else who wants to bid? Is there anyone else? No, right? Number 60 once. Number 60 twice. Number 60, 3 times. The auctioneer asked 3 times in a row, and when no one else made a bid, he slammed the gavel in his hand. Our Mr. Su Yin has become the winner of Miss Ning Shuelua's diamond bracelet. Congratulations, Mr. Su. The guests laughed and teased him. Ha ha ha. Young Master Su is so angry for a beauty. Ning Shuelua looked at the man beside her with adoration in her eyes. Brother Yin, why are you? Su Yin looked at the girl beside him with a gentle gaze. I was going to take the photo anyway. How could I let someone else take the photo of what's so important to you? Many people remembered that Ning Yaohua was the one who bought Ning Shuelua's personal jewelry last year. This year, it was Su Yin. They couldn't help but secretly sigh at Ning Shuelua's good life. On the stage, the auctioneer teased Ning Shuelua and Su Yin. He then continued with the auction. All right, let's continue the auction. The next item is... The auctioneer paused and then said, the next item is a jade bracelet donated by Miss Ning Shi from Shengshi Entertainment. Hearing the auctioneer's voice, Ning Shi raised her eyebrows in the corner. Chapter 1195. Miss Ning Shi once starred in director Guo's popular costume movie, The World, with Xue Luo. She played the role of Ming Chang'e, the second female lead, and was very popular with the audience. The auctioneer briefly introduced Ning Shi. The world was indeed very popular, but when placed together with Ning Shueluo, the female lead and the supporting female lead, they were instantly overshadowed. Almost no one in the circle of celebrities knew about such an artist who played a supporting role. After the auctioneer finished, Ning Shi stood up and greeted everyone. When they saw Ning Shi in person, there was a burst of exclamations. Yo! Since when did such a beauty appear in the circle? She's so pretty. There are so many beautiful female celebrities in the industry. Can you stand all of them? This is different. She's really beautiful. Just look at that figure. The only role that's presentable right now is a second female lead? It looks like she hasn't been chosen yet. Why? What do you think, Director Sun? Hee, a little. Of course, there were many in the celebrity circle who recognized Ning Shi. The socialites around Ning Shueluo couldn't help but discuss when they saw Ning Shi. Isn't that the adopted daughter of the Ning family? The adopted daughter of the Ning family? The one who was adopted from the countryside? Yes. I saw her at Grandpa Ning's birthday party. It's her. No way. She changed so much? The first time I saw her was at Shueluo's coming-of-age ceremony. That woman was so old-fashioned, and she was even wearing fake clothes. I heard that she was chased out of the family because she tried to steal Shueluo's boyfriend and seduce Su Yin. Later, she went for plastic surgery, and now she's trying to enter the entertainment industry with her vixen face. A pheasant wants to become a phoenix? Why don't you take a piss and look at yourself? All right, everyone can start bidding, the auctioneer said. However, as soon as he finished speaking, there was an eerie silence. For a moment, no one made a bid. There would never be a situation where no one made a bid on such an occasion, unless someone was deliberately manipulating the situation. Xiao Tao gritted her teeth. I knew someone would do it on purpose. Luckily, we're prepared. Someone? Ning Shi tilted her head and asked. Xiao Tao nodded. It's to prevent such a situation. I'll inform him immediately. In order to prevent such an embarrassing situation where no one offered a price or deliberately raised the price, many people would prepare some shills in case of emergencies. Lin Jiji also prepared in advance for Ning Shi. Just as Xiao Tao was about to inform the other side, someone in the crowd suddenly raised a placard. 1 yuan. Along with this voice, the crowd roared with laughter. Someone actually offered 1 yuan. Who was it? The auctioneer couldn't help but laugh. Number 17, Director Chin's bid is 1 yuan. Chapter 1196. Su Yan's face darkened when he heard Director Sun's offer. His hand that was holding the sign moved, but Ning Shueluo covered the back of his hand. Many people knew about the entanglement between them and Ning Shi. If Su Yan helped Ning Shi, who knew what kind of gossip would spread? Ning Shueluo hurriedly said, Brother Yan, it's okay. With Lin Jiji's methods, my sister will definitely have someone ready to help us. Su Yin temporarily suppressed the impulse in his heart. However, when he saw Director Sun looking at Ning Shi with undisguised desire, he still felt unspeakably annoyed. Director Sun bids 10,000. Anyone else? The auctioneer asked. 10,001 yuan. In the corner of the seat that was not covered by the lights, a person raised his sign. Pfft, 10,001 yuan? I'm dying of laughter. How can there be such a price? Only 1 yuan. Who is this? The host didn't know whether to laugh or cry, but the other party didn't violate the rules, so he could only say, Mr. Number 8 bids 10,001 yuan. Director Sun frowned and raised his sign. 20,000. Number 8 continued to bid. 20,001 yuan. Director Sun gritted his teeth. 30,000. Number 8 continued. 30,001 yuan. These two people's bids caused a burst of laughter. Ha 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 ha. I'm dying of laughter. Who is this number 8? Could he be Ning Shi's shill? This shill is too unprofessional. Who dares to raise the price like this? It's so embarrassing. Ning Shi's mouth twitched as she turned to Xiao Tao. Number 8? Is our shill? Xiao Tao was stunned. Then she shook her head like a rattle drum and said excitedly, How is that possible? Why would Sister Gigi hire such a stupid shill? I just called, but I don't know what happened, but I suddenly couldn't contact our people. I don't know who this guy is either. Damn it. Could it be that Ning Shuelua planted him to cause trouble? It must be. This is too much. Xiao Tao almost exploded in anger. Ningxi felt that things were a little strange. She turned slightly and looked at the corner of number 8, but the distance was too far. She couldn't see who the person was. In the end, even Director Sun didn't want to continue bidding in such a shameful way. He gave up bidding angrily, and the others naturally didn't bid again. In the end, Ning Shi's jade bracelet was bought by number 8 at the price of 30,001 yuan. The original price of Ning Shi's bracelet was 30,000 yuan, and the price that was sold was exactly 1 yuan higher than the original price. Everyone looked at Ning Shi with disdain. I knew it. An adopted daughter was an adopted daughter. Even the person he found was so blind. How dare he raise the price like this? What a joke. Ha 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 ha. That's right. It's the biggest joke in the world. Country bumpkins are ignorant. He hired someone, but he was reluctant to spend more money. That was the only way. Chapter 1197. Big Brother Yin. I told you that my sister would make arrangements. The price of my sister's necklace is not low. It should be about the same as the original price. Ning Shuelua looked at Su Yin innocently. Su Yin was glad that he didn't make a bid just now. Otherwise, he would be the one to be embarrassed, not President Sun. Xiaoxi was still not experienced enough in dealing with these things. Until the end of the auction of the celebrities' donated items, Xiao Tao was still a little indignant. She almost left her seat and rushed over to see who number 8 was. Finally, Ning Shi stopped her. If Xiao Tao went to number 8's side at this time, it would prove that number 8 was the person they arranged. Next, the second round began. The second round was the auction of the last 10 treasures prepared by the organizer. These were all treasures raised by the organizer from the society. The part of the auction that was higher than the original price would all be used for charity. Many political and business celebrities at the scene came for these treasures. The atmosphere became lively again. The auction was in full swing, and the prices of the items were also very high. Ning Shuelua bid for a pin made of pure gold, saying that she would give it to her father as a gift, which won a lot of praise from the audience. As for Su Yin, he didn't make a bid until the 9th item. The audience couldn't help but be a little curious and asked him, "What's wrong? There are so many treasures today. Did young Master Su not take a fancy to any of them?" "Yes, I'm waiting." Su Yin looked at Ning Shuelua next to him and smiled. Ning Shuelua also smiled shyly. As soon as he finished speaking, the host's voice sounded on the stage. Now we will show the last item, which is also the last treasure of this auction. It is called Queen, and the crown is inlaid with 12 Colombian pear-shaped emeralds. The total weight of the emeralds is 600 carats. It was specially customized by Sarsi, the king of Country Y, for Queen Eugenie. It represents his undying love for the queen. It was once auctioned anonymously by a private person for a high price of 30 million. This time, we will auction it for charity. As soon as the introduction came out, everyone suddenly understood. It seemed that Su Yin had been waiting for this item. The two were about to get married, and this crown was obviously prepared by Su Yin to make the beauty happy as a token of love. Sigh. My wife also has her eyes on this item, and she told me to get it today. But it seems like there's not much hope now. One of the rich young masters looked at Su Yin with a helpless expression. The other rich businessmen and celebrities who came for the crown also laughed. No matter what, we have to give it a try. Many people had their eyes on this final treasure, and there were also a few who had come for it. At this moment, everyone was eager to try it out. Su Yan's expression was calm, as if he was determined to get it. The Ning and Su families had joined hands, and their businesses were getting bigger and bigger. Especially the Su family, their businesses had expanded overseas, and their financial power was astonishing. It was no wonder that they were so confident. Of course, there were also many powerful people present, and the competition for this item would probably be fierce. Even the auctioneer's tone was unusually excited. Now, let the auction begin. Everyone, please bid. 20 million. All right. Now, number 31 Director Zhao is asking for 20 million. Are there any more? 21 million. Number 56 offers 21 million. 23 million. Director's son has asked for 23 million. Everyone knows that our crown is very precious, and there's still a lot of room for the price to go up. Anyone else? Su Sun was in an awkward situation, but because of the connections he had accumulated in his early years, he could still fight. Under such an occasion, the two brothers started to fight. It was a great show. 46 million. Su Sun followed Su Yan's bid. Su Yan, 47 million. Su Sun, 48 million. Su Yan, 50 million. Su Sun, 555 million. As soon as Su Sun made his offer, many people present were speechless as they looked at him. This Su clan's second young master was really going all out just for the sake of venting his anger. Mr. Su Sun has offered 55 million. Are there any more? Mr. Zhao, would you like to continue? The auctioneer looked in Zhao Haixing's direction. Zhao Haixing scratched his head. Ahem. Wait a minute, I have to call my wife. The crowd burst into laughter and ridicule. Chapter 11:99. Ha ha ha. I'll wait for you then. The auctioneer laughed. Soon, Zhao Haixing came back from the phone call and said with a smile, My wife said it's too expensive. Please continue. Mrs. Zhao is indeed a virtuous housekeeper, the auctioneer said with a smile. Then he looked at President Sunday. What about President's son? Do you want to continue? 56 million. Sun Zhanping glanced in Ning Shi's direction, as if he wanted to show off his strength to the beauty, and said proudly, 56 million. President's son bids 56 million. Mr. Su, do you want to continue? The auctioneer looked at Su Yan and Su Sun with glowing eyes. Su Sun's face darkened. He had reached the limit of his endurance. If he continued, even if he won the bid, he would suffer a great loss. His remaining supporters would also have a bad opinion of him because of his irrational behavior. In the end, Su Sun could only grit his teeth and say, I give up. The crowd burst into laughter. Ning Xueluo also looked at him mockingly. Humph, he's just an illegitimate son. How dare he compete with Su Yan? How ridiculous. In the corner, Xiao Tao was dazzled by the fierce competition. She was so nervous that she almost forgot her anger just now. She tugged at Ning Shi's sleeve and asked nervously, Sister Shi, who do you think will win the crown? Ning Shi yawned in boredom. Who knows? It has nothing to do with us. What charity dinner? She had enough of watching these so-called celebrities and rich businessmen show off for a long time. She might as well donate the money to the people who needed it. But this was the business. She had no choice but to put on a show. No matter how much she donated or how much she did in private, others wouldn't know and wouldn't praise her. Of course, she did it out of her heart and didn't need to. 60 million was a hurdle. The winner would probably be decided soon. Ning Shi packed up her bag and was about to go home to sleep. Xiao Tao was still murmuring excitedly, although I don't want it to happen, I think Su Yin will still get it. Ning Xueluo already said that she came for the crown. The Su family is so rich. Sure enough, as soon as he finished speaking, Su Yin immediately raised the price, 60 million. 60 million. The auctioneer's eyes widened. Mr. Su has bid 60 million. Still no one continuing? Director's son, do you want to continue filming? Director's son? Sun Zhanping's face and neck turned red. He didn't speak for a long time. It was obvious that the price was beyond his means. It wasn't that he couldn't afford it, but as a businessman, he wouldn't spend 60 million just to buy such a thing, no matter how much he valued his reputation. The auctioneer also knew that this price was already very rare, so he stopped while he was ahead and began to shout, Mr. Su Yin, 60 million once. At this moment, the audience had already begun to exclaim in admiration and congratulate Su Yin. As expected of the Su family, they are indeed rich and overbearing. Even Sun Zhanping is finished. Ning Xueluo is too lucky. If someone spent so much money to buy a crown for me, I would really wake up laughing in my dreams. Congratulations, young Master Su. You're really going all out for a beauty, huh? What do you mean by going all out? This small amount of money is just a drop in the bucket for young Master Su. Ha ha ha, that's true. Remember to invite us to your wedding. Su Yin humbly responded to everyone's compliments. In fact, he was secretly relieved at this moment. He knew in his heart that 60 million was already the bottom price in his heart. If Sun Jianpeng continued to raise the price, he was afraid that he wouldn't follow up anymore. However, at this moment, listening to the crowd's compliments, his heart was still greatly satisfied. Ning Shueluo, who was beside him, intimately held Su Yan's arm. Her face was filled with happiness and sweetness. On the stage, the auctioneer had already begun the second confirmation. 60 million twice, 60 million thrice. As the voice fell, the auctioneer raised the auction hammer in his hand high. Once the hammer fell, the auction was unexpectedly completed. The audience held their breath, waiting for the moment when the hammer fell. However, when the auctioneer's hand that was hanging in midair was halfway down, in the quiet air, in an inconspicuous corner at the back, a sign with the number 8 was raised unhurriedly. 100 million. Chapter 1200. 100 million. The auctioneer was so shocked that he almost dropped the mallet in his hand. He managed to steady himself with great difficulty. He swallowed hard and stammered. Number 8 just offered a price of 100 million. Mr. Number 8 offered 100 million. Oh my God. Many of the guests were anonymous, and Number 8 was one of them. The auctioneer only knew that he was a man, but didn't know who he was, so he just called him by his code name. After the auctioneer's voice fell, the scene was still dead silent for a long time. It was only after a long time that the crowd seemed to wake up from a dream and let out a series of gasps. There were even some people who stood up in excitement and looked towards the corner that no one was interested in. However, there seemed to be only one person sitting at the table in the corner. Moreover, it was against the light, so for a moment, they couldn't see who that person was. All they could see was an incomparably fair hand that was holding a sign. Oh my God! Did I hear wrongly just now? 100 million? Someone offered 100 million? Is he crazy? Who in the capital has such a rich and inhuman financial resources? Most importantly, who would offer such a high price in an auction? He's throwing money away for fun. Yes, he's throwing money away for fun. 100 million just for an accessory. Wait, that's not right. If I'm not mistaken, the one who just raised the sign is Number 8? Isn't Number 8 the shill of that little artist named Ningxi? Yes. I remember it too. He raised the price one by one just now. How did it suddenly jump to 100 million? What's going on? Not to mention the celebrities below the stage. Even the auctioneer himself was dumbfounded. He had been an auctioneer for so many years, but this was the first time he had seen such a bid. It actually jumped from 60 million to 100 million in one go. The bidding was as if it was a game. In the end, the host wiped his sweat and ran up to remind the auctioneer. Then the auctioneer came back to his senses and continued his duty. He took a deep breath to calm down and said, "Ahem, everyone, please be quiet. We have to continue the auction. Just now, Mr. Su offered 60 million, and the hammer hasn't fallen for the third time, so it doesn't count. Now, our distinguished guest Number 8 has offered a high price of 100 million for the crown queen. That's right. You didn't hear wrong. It's 100 million. Now, does anyone want to continue bidding? Anything else?" The auctioneer was extremely excited as he yelled out a series of lines in an encouraging tone. In his hands, he actually managed to get an auction item at such a high price. This was definitely a great achievement in his career. After the auctioneer finished speaking, there was dead silence. The auctioneer subconsciously looked at Su Yin, who was already in the back. The latter's face was obviously very dark. Being suddenly cut off, and with such a price that completely crushed him to the point where he couldn't resist, no one would be in a good mood. Ning Shuelua, who was enjoying everyone's envious gazes, turned pale. She quickly looked at Changli and asked, "What's going on? Isn't Number 8 your man?" Changli was really confused this time. She had no choice but to tell the truth. No, actually, I wanted to say, I didn't arrange Number 8. I don't know who he is. Chapter 1202. Is it just because you like that bracelet? Oh, Sister Shi, I was the one who chose that bracelet for you. I didn't expect my taste to be so good, haha. Xiao Tao kept chattering in her ears, and Ning Shi's forehead twitched. She didn't know why, but she had a bad feeling. Number 8's way of doing things. Why did it give her such a strange and familiar feeling? Plus, when she entered the door just now, she seemed to have seen a familiar figure. Just when everyone's eyes were focused on the stage, a tall and sturdy bodyguard in a black shirt and pants walked onto the stage. He whispered something to the host and the auctioneer. Then, he quickly signed the transaction contract, paid the money, and left. 100 million. 100 million. He just casually paid and signed the contract. It was worth noting that when the man left, he didn't take the crown with him. What's going on? He doesn't want the crown anymore? The audience was confused. Then, the auctioneer carefully held the crown with both hands and looked down at the audience, his eyes shining, and said excitedly, "Everyone, just now I was entrusted by the honorable guest number 8. It turns out that Mr. Number 8 bought this crown at a sky-high price to give to a lady below the stage. Mr. Number 8 is this lady's loyal fan." What? It's a gift? Fuck. It's a gift on the spot. Who is this beast? Spending 100 million to coax a woman. Loyal fan? Looks like it's a female celebrity. This idol chasing is simply outrageous. Fuck. Whose fan is this? He's so brave. I'll bet 100 yuan. It's Ning Shueluo's fan. Shueluo's fans have always been brave. Xiao Tao stretched her head to look, and as she looked, she angrily muttered, "Could it be Ning Shueluo's fan? No. Please don't. Please, please. If it's Ning Shueluo's fan, I'll kill myself on the stage." Ning Shi was speechless. At that moment, the audience below the stage was almost drowned in discussions. Several famous female stars and movie queens, including Ning Shueluo, were all looking at them with burning and gossipy eyes. The auctioneer didn't announce until he was done with the suspense. The giver of the crown is Ning Shi, Miss Ning. Just now, our Mr. 8 even bought the jade bracelet donated by Miss Ning. It can be seen that he is indeed a true fan. The auctioneer teased jokingly. He had originally wanted to liven up the atmosphere, but the people below looked as if they had seen a ghost. Their jaws and glasses fell to the ground. Fuck. Auctioneer, are you kidding me? Are you sure you're a true fan and not an anti-fan? In the corner, Xiao Tao's eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. At the same time, Ning Shi's phone suddenly rang. She received a new message. "Dear, did you like the present? Sender." Cloud Radish. Ning Shi pinched the space between her brows as she looked at the 3 words Cloud Radish that she'd personally changed back then. The veins on her forehead bulged violently, and her face alternated between green and purple. It was simply as if she'd gone mad. "Congratulations, Joy. You, sister." She was thinking, this inexplicably familiar, crazy way of doing things, in the end, it really was that guy. Good night. There are a total of 9 updates today. Update is over. Continue to ask for monthly votes. Those who have already voted can vote for recommendation. Recommendation votes can be voted every day. Love Mudcute. Kiss me one by one. Chapter 1203. Oh my God. Sister Shi. Sister Shi, did you hear that? That crown worth 100 million was actually given to you. It's for you. That number 8 is your fan. I almost thought it was your black. Seeing Xiao Tao's state, even if she didn't smash her head against a pillar, she would still be excited to death. Looking at the reactions of the others, one would realize that Xiao Tao was actually quite calm. Let's welcome Miss Ning to the stage. Hearing the host's words, the audience was in an uproar. It's Ning Shi. How could this be? Shouldn't Miss Ning be referring to Shueluo? Is there a mistake somewhere? Next, let's welcome Ning Shi. Miss Ning Shi? The host probably heard the discussion below, so he specially emphasized Ning Shi's name. Finally, no one questioned her anymore. The base price of this crown is 30 million yuan. Now it's sold for 100 million yuan, which means that this auction item has raised 70 million yuan for us. Miss Ning, You are undoubtedly the guest who has raised the most money for us in this auction. Thank you very much for your contribution to charity, and I sincerely wish your acting career will get better and better." On the stage, the host was enthusiastically complimenting Ning Shi. Ning Shui's face was extremely ugly. She was completely overwhelmed by jealousy and hatred. No matter how hard she thought, she would never have thought that the person who snatched the crown was Ning Shi. Ning Shuiluo was so angry that her entire body was trembling. When she looked at Su Yin, she had an extremely sad and wronged expression on her face. "Brother Yin, why? Why does my sister treat me like this? She clearly knows that I like this crown. She clearly knows what this crown means to me. Why does she have to snatch anything that belongs to me?" Su Yin didn't expect this result at all. He pinched his eyebrows tiredly and said, "Shuiluo, Xiaoxi didn't mean it. Didn't mean it? How could there be so many coincidences? When you proposed to me at the party last time, she used all kinds of means to steal my limelight, and now she did it again. She just can't stand me. I put up with her again and again, but she bullied me again and again. Big brother Yin, I really can't take it anymore. Shuiluo, no matter how capable Xiaoxi is, it's impossible for her to do this. She must really be her fan. Don't be sad. I'll prepare a better one for you later." "Big brother Yin, why are you always speaking up for her? Is she going to snatch you away as well? Are you regretting being with me? Don't spout nonsense." In a black car, the moment a silver-haired man stepped in, Feng Xiaoxiao immediately rubbed her hands together excitedly. "How is it? How is it? This move of mine is not bad, right? A hero saving a damsel in distress would definitely work 100 times. Little junior sister, are you especially touched?" As soon as she finished speaking, the man's long and narrow eyes glanced at her coldly. Feng Xiaoxiao's scalp went numb from the stare, and she coughed weakly. What's wrong?" The man casually tossed a black phone over. Feng Xiaoxiao hurriedly caught it and looked at her phone. In the end, she saw this conversation. "Dear, did you like the present? Joy. Joy. You. Sister." Feng Xiaoxiao was dumbfounded. This doesn't make sense. "Sorry, my dear friends, I've written too much. Most of the time. It's not because I'm busy, but because I'm in con. Chapter 1204. How is that possible? Little junior sister, isn't that unreasonable? Feng Xiaoxiao looked at the text message again and again, getting more and more confused. The man narrowed his eyes and said lazily with a hint of danger, "Are you saying I'm being unreasonable?" Feng Xiaoxiao coughed lightly and waved her hands hurriedly. No. How could that be? But this outcome is way too different from what I expected. Boss, did you really do as I said? Little junior sister hates those two scumbags the most in the country. You helped her slap their faces. Even if she doesn't appreciate it, she shouldn't have scolded you. The more Feng Xiaoxiao thought about it, the more confused she became. She then looked at Tang Yi, who was sitting next to the silver-haired man. "Elder senior brother, can you tell me what exactly happened? Be more specific." Tang Ye's face reflected the faint glow of the laptop. He tapped on the laptop a few times and handed it over. Feng Xiaoxiao hurriedly looked at the laptop and saw that it was a live broadcast of the charity gala. The live broadcast was done on a working day by the organizers. It had a lot of views and was currently at the top of the list. It was obvious that something shocking must have happened at the charity gala. Feng Xiaoxiao clicked on the screen excitedly, but the more she watched, the uglier her expression became. In the end, her face was so horrible that she couldn't bear to look at it. Feng Xiaoxiao closed the laptop and looked at the two men sitting in front of her with a pale face and trembling hands. You guys." After a long while, Feng Xiaoxiao, who was about to explode from anger, finally regained the ability to speak. "My beloved boss, please allow me to sincerely ask you, why do you want to increase $1? What's wrong with your brain? I did it willingly. Is there a problem?" The silver-haired man glanced at her. Feng Xiaoxiao pounded her chest and almost spat out a mouthful of blood. She couldn't communicate properly with the man in front of her. She could only turn to Tang Yi and roar in anger, "Elder senior brother, You know how high boss's EQ is. But why didn't you stop her? Tang Yi opened his laptop and started working on those complicated financial reports again. He didn't even raise his head when he heard this. Why should I stop her? Feng Xiao. Heavens! Someone come and save me. She was about to be angered to death by this group of bastards with zero EQ. He really shouldn't have held any hope for them. Feng Xiao struggled as if he had just escaped from death and said weakly, Boss, since you hired me to be your dog-head army, Apui, love counselor, then you should strictly follow the method I taught you. And don't add scenes for yourself, okay? What's the difference between your previous actions and those of an anti-fan? Junior sister might even suspect that you're sent by Ning Shualua. How troublesome. The silver-haired man faintly looked irritated. Feng Xiao was afraid of angering him, so she quickly softened her tone. Sigh, my boss, if you want to tie down Junior sister's heart, it's inevitable that you'll encounter some trouble. In fact, this guy's low EQ was all because of money. To him, he only needed one trick to deal with women. Throw money, throw money, throw money. Add to that he had no interest in the affairs of men and women, and his brain circuit was unimaginable. Naturally, he would never think of studying those complicated things. Chapter 1205. She had hoped that eldest senior brother would be able to give her some advice, but it turned out that the two of them were equally matched. She could not count on him at all. The only people in the organization who she had a good relationship with and had normal brain circuits were little junior sister and second senior brother. Now that both of them were gone, she was the only one left. Every day, she was so angry that her liver hurt. If she was not so lonely, she would not have compromised to help that guy chase after little junior sister. If she could really get little junior sister back, of course, it would be a happy ending. Unfortunately, after trying once, she would rather go to the countryside to farm than teach this guy how to chase after women. 100 million was wasted just like that. Haha, Lu Group, CEO's office. Second young master. Second young master, you're here. Hello, second young master. Where's my brother? The CEO is in the office. Lu Jingli did not have time to pay attention to anyone. He passed through the staff area like a whirlwind and ran straight in the direction of the CEO's office. Lu Jingli pushed the door open and slammed his hands on his brother's desk with a loud bang. Fuck. Brother, why are you still in the company? Stop working. Lu Tingxiao looked up from a pile of complicated documents and pinched his tired eyebrows. What's the matter? Of course there's something. Something big has happened. Who the fuck is coveting your wife? Lu Jingli was furious. His little expression was even angrier than if his wife had been stolen, even though he did not have a wife. Lu Tingxiao's expression froze, and he cast a suspicious look. Lu Jingli immediately rushed over and used Lu Tingxiao's computer to search for a video. Brother, look, 100 million, 100 million. What kind of fan makes it sound so nice? He's coveting your wife's beauty. But I don't know why this guy deliberately teased little Cece in the beginning. Is it to leave a deeper impression on little Cece? Humph, it must be so. He's so insidious. Brother, you can't lose. Look, I've already chosen all the gifts for you. Every single one of them is definitely better than that crown. Lu Jingli talked nonstop for a long time, and he even opened the iPad in his hand to show Lu Tingxiao the gifts he had found. There was a crown, a ring, and even a sports car. There was a complete range of gifts, everything that one could ask for. From the looks of it, he was determined to win this round. Lu Tingxiao's gaze lingered for a few seconds on the corner with the number 8 sign. His face expressionless. Brother, can you hear me? The enemy is coming at us ferociously, so we can't show any weakness. Take a look at any of these gifts and I'll go buy it immediately. Lu Jingli roared anxiously. Lu Tingxiao, no need. Why wouldn't I? It's absolutely necessary, I'm telling you. Although you have a good relationship with little Cece, you also need to maintain a relationship. Gifts are very important. Lu Jingli had a serious expression on his face, and then he frowned and muttered. And, this number may 8th be a little tricky. Even I haven't found out who he is. Who in the capital has such financial resources that I don't know? But one thing is for sure, he's definitely a crazy admirer of little Cece. Otherwise, how could he spend so much money? I just don't know what his relationship with little Cece is. Is it possible that they know each other? Lu Tingxiao leaned back in his chair, his face cold and his tone calm. He's just an ex-boyfriend. Lu Jingli. Chapter 1206. What? Lu Jingli's eyes widened. Ex-boyfriend? This guy is Cece's ex-boyfriend? Brother, how do you know? Lu Tingxiao did not speak and continued to read the document. To be able to casually take out 100 million in liquid funds, coupled with such an unbridled and arrogant way of doing things, he did not need to check to know who it was. And that person, Ningxi had once said that she had dated him for a day. Even if Ningxi used to like him, or even love him, it was just in the past. Lu Jingli looked at his brother's calmness and expressed his admiration. That's right. Number 8 and Su Yin are just ex-boyfriends. So what if they fight to the death with each other? Brother, you are the legal wife. Hee hee. Lu Tingxiao finished reading the last document in his hand, then picked up his coat and got up to leave. Brother, where are you going? Lu Jingli asked hurriedly. To prepare a gift. Huh, you're going to give Cece a gift? What are you going to give her? Don't you need me to choose? Lu Jingli was disappointed, but at the same time, he was also curious. Did his brother have a better gift for Cece? On the other hand, after the banquet, Ningxi asked Xiao Tao to go back first, and then sent a text message to Annie to ask her out to meet. Although 70 million yuan of this crown was for charity, 30 million yuan was still a huge amount. Because it was a gift from someone else, it was not appropriate for her to donate it without permission, so she could only accept it for the time being. Now, she could only ask Annie to return it. She knew that the money was just a drop in the bucket for someone, and she also knew that he would never take back what he had given away. However, she also had her principles. She already had a big devil, so naturally, she would not accept gifts from other men. Although that guy was actually not in the category of human to her, before she met Annie, she made a trip back and brought the huge diamond with her. She also brought the gift that she had prepared for Annie, in a private room in a restaurant. Brother Shi. Annie was very happy to see Ningxi. This is for you. Ningxi handed her a pink bag. Annie looked at the extremely cute cartoon-shaped biscuits in the bag, and her eyes lit up. Wow, so cute. For me? Brother Shi, where did you buy it? I made it. Don't mind. What? Brother Shi, you made it yourself? Why would he despise it? I love it so much. Thank you, Brother Shi. Annie held it in her arms like a baby. She didn't expect Brother Shi to be able to make such a cute thing. Her face was full of surprise. I should be the one thanking you. The prescription you gave my grandpa last time was very effective. Ningxi thanked him. It's just a piece of cake. By the way, Brother Shi, are you looking for me for something else? Annie asked tentatively. Ningxi glanced at her. You know what happened today? Actually, I'm not too sure either. I only know that boss, Brother Yi, and Sister Xiao Xiao went out together. I think they want to look for you. Have you guys met? Ningxi's mouth twitched. Eldest senior brother and third senior sister also went? What the hell are these guys doing? Ningxi pinched the space between her eyebrows. I actually have another favor to ask of you. I hope you can help me return 2 things to Satan. Based on his personality, it's very likely that he won't accept it. Just help me secretly put it back in his room. Actually, I was going to do it myself, but, I really don't want to go to that damn place you guys live. His pajamas had been completely torn by her, revealing a large area of his honey-colored skin. This lazy and leisurely attitude, which was the complete opposite of his usual aloof and abstinence, was simply irresistible. She touched her pounding heart, and her breathing was a little unstable. Lu Tingxiao, why are you here? You scared me. The man lifted the blanket next to him, and his deep voice lingered in her ears. Come here. Ningxi swallowed her saliva and crawled over. She raised her head to look at the man above her head with sparkling eyes. Sweetheart, what's going on? Why? Why are you suddenly so enthusiastic? Not only did she warm his bed, but she also slept with him. The man raised an eyebrow. You don't like it? Chapter 1209. The movie hadn't even been released yet, but Lu Tingxiao had already gotten the negatives. It was obvious that he had done it for her. Ningxi sighed emotionally. We're watching Liang Biqin's movie on such a beautiful day. It's such a waste. What do you want to watch? Lu Tingxiao asked. Ningxi seemed to have thought of something. She chuckled and touched her chin. We should watch some action movies, something like that. Wouldn't it be better? The man glanced at her. Do you think I need to watch that when you're by my side? Ningxi was speechless. The devil was getting more and more cunning. She realized that every time she teased him, she would be teased back. A him. Let's watch the movie. Let's watch the movie. The movie was nearly 2 hours long, but Ningxi didn't fast forward it, to be honest. Ningxi didn't think it was as bad as she had imagined after watching it. Liang Biqin's movie wasn't as good as Shin Mion's, but it had a strong story and a novel theme. Otherwise, Ningxi wouldn't have liked it in the first place. After all, the script was there, and so much money had been spent on it. The effect was okay. From her professional point of view, there were many dangerous scenes with stunt doubles, and Liang Biqin's acting was a little awkward, but there weren't many problems. With so much money spent on the publicity and the support of so many big names, the box office would definitely be recovered. The above was from the perspective of the general public and the audience. Of course, if she were to look at it from her personal point of view and evaluation standards, this was a piece of trash. The actors' acting skills were not focused at all. Even the best actress and best actor veterans were not in their best state. It was as if they were playing a game, which made her furious. But that was how movies were made these days. Even if there wasn't a good quality, the box office could be made with publicity and star power. That was why directors and investors valued the actors' fame more than their acting skills. Boss, what do you think of Liang Biqin's movie? Ningxi looked up and asked for Lu Tingxiao's opinion. In the end, well, as soon as she raised her head, she met his eyes. Could it be that he hadn't watched the movie at all and had only watched her? Well, the Demon King's reaction seemed to represent his opinion of the movie. It's not attractive at all. Oh, Mr. Boss. When Director Shin called me yesterday, he asked me if I've been in contact with you recently. I mean, Ku Mingyu. I think he wants to introduce you to an agent. Ningxi said. I'll arrange it later, Lu Tingxiao said. Ningxi's eyes lit up. You want an agent? You mean, you're not leaving after this film, and I'll still have a chance to film with you in the future? Lu Tingxiao glanced at her lightly. Don't you want to have sex with me? I will satisfy you. Holy shit. The great Demon King's flirting was too much. Chapter 1211. Cui Zhihao seemed to have thought of something as he revealed a suspicious expression. But, Director Zhang, there's something I don't quite understand. Wasn't your film supposed to be released next month? Why did it suddenly move forward to this month? Hee. I wonder if manager Cui knows that Shin Mian has a new film coming out recently? Zhang Kangda asked meaningfully. Cui Zhihao thought for a moment. Of course, the great director Shin knows about it. I was surprised before that director Shin actually released a new film without any news at all. I paid special attention to it and found out that all the actors this time are newcomers. Zhang Kangda chuckled. Director Shan's film is very coincidental. The theme is also a youth comedy, and it's also a woman dressed as a man. I'm really afraid of director Shin's reputation. The audience had preconceived notions. When two films with the same theme were released, they would generally prefer to see which one they would watch first. Although Zhang Kangda said that, in reality, his tone was full of mockery and disdain. Cui Zhihao immediately understood what Zhang Kangda meant. All these years, Zhang Kangde had always been suppressed by Shin Mian. It seemed like he was planning to use this opportunity to suppress Shin Mian in one fell swoop. Even if he wanted to release the film before Shin Mian due to preconceived notions, he could have waited a little longer because the same theme would cause competition among the audience. However, Zhang Kangde purposely released the film 2 days later than Shin Mian's and released it almost at the same time. It was obvious that he was planning to steal all the market share of Shin Mian's film and directly suppress it to death. Shin Mian's film did not have a big shot or a backer. How could it compete with Zhang Kangde? It was almost a dead end. Cui Zhihao shook his head and said, "Hee. Shin Mian is indeed amazing, but it's also a fact that the box office has been going downhill these years. It's almost impossible for it to regain its former glory. Now, he's willfully produced such a low-budget film. Does he think he's still the Shin Mian from 10 years ago? Is the film market still the same as it was 10 years ago? It's not that I want to say this, but director Shin really made a mistake this time. His long-accumulated reputation might be destroyed because of this film." Zhang Kangde poured a glass of wine for Cui Zhihao and asked casually, "How does manager Cui plan to arrange director Shin's schedule?" Cui Zhihao gave him a knowing look. "Of course, we'll do what we need to do. Our cinema isn't a charity. We're all here to make money. Even with Shin Mian's reputation, this movie obviously can't hold up at the box office. At most, we'll get a 10% screening rate." After the negotiation, both parties continued to drink and chat. Finally, both of them left in satisfaction. Liang Biqin said excitedly, "Director Zhang, you're amazing. With such a high screening rate, our box office definitely won't be bad." When the trailer first came out, because of the actor's popularity, there were a lot of Little Pink fans who praised and expressed their anticipation. However, there were also quite a few who scolded them for being cliched and brainless. At first, she was a little worried. Of course, don't overestimate the taste of the audience these days. The people who come to the cinema to spend money are getting younger and younger. They only know what's good and what's bad, and they're just here to watch the show. They'll watch whatever you arrange for them," Zhang Kangde said confidently. Liang Biqin nodded in agreement with Director Zhang's words. Of course, what made her feel better was that Shin Mian was doomed this time. Chapter 12-13. They were all newcomers. Although Ningxi had acted in Under the Heavens before, that was her only work. Fan loyalty was not high to begin with. Moreover, she had only released a new work after such a long time. The change in theme was so huge, so the impact on the box office was almost negligible. "You guys can continue with the regular publicity as planned. I'll think of a solution to the theater's scheduling problem," Shin Mian said calmly. Since he was prepared to take this path, he had naturally foreseen everything that was happening now. Everyone looked at each other, knowing that the situation was not optimistic. Zhang Kangde's movie had a shockingly high scheduling rate and had almost taken over the entire market. It was harder than ascending to the heavens to cut a bloody path out of it. Although they did not say it out loud, everyone was inevitably a little discouraged. They all knew that the quality of their film was miles ahead of Zhang Kangde's film. However, in the current film market, the quality of the film no longer seemed to be the key to the box office. No one knew this better than Shin Mian, the director. Because of this, Ningxi admired Shin Mian even more for cutting off all means of retreat this time. In the past, Shin Mian's films had always been fought over by all the major cinema chains. Even if things had not been very optimistic in recent years, the scheduling rate had never been lower than 30%. However, this time, without the big names and powerful investors backing them up, the final scheduling rate was less than 10%. Several of the cinema chains even had a scheduling rate of 5%, and all of them were silent before 12 a.m. and after 22 p.m. This was the result that Shin Mian had personally fought for from many sides. Finally, the day of the premiere of The Dream Seeker arrived. Ningxi checked the major cinemas in the Imperial City. Almost all of them were scheduled in the morning and at night. In the end, Ningxi bought tickets for the 22 p.m. movie. It was the weekend, so there were quite a lot of people out on dates and watching movies. However, because it was really late, there were only a few people left in the cinema. Among these people, most of them were there to watch I Only Like You. Under the circumstances that both films had the same theme, the audience would naturally choose the more popular one. At that moment, in front of the movie poster of I Only Like You, a man and a woman were discussing. "Baby, why don't you watch this? There are a lot of big names in it, and I heard it's quite funny," the man suggested. The girl mumbled unwillingly, "No, I don't like Liang Bi-chin. She's too pretentious. Also, she looks so scary in men's clothes." "Did I? I think it's okay. Anyway, I don't want to watch stupid movies. If you want to see it yourself." "Then what are we looking at? There aren't any good movies at this time. Let me see. Oh, Dream Seeker." Leading roles, Ning Shi, Shen Hanchen. I've never heard of them, but holy shit. The male lead in this poster is way too handsome. He's totally my type. This gaze, this temperament. Just look at this. In the poster of Dream Seeker, there was a man and a woman, but in reality, the man was not the male lead, but Ning Shi. One was Ning Shi in men's clothes, and the other was Ning Shi in women's clothes. Those who didn't know would misunderstand that one was the male lead and the other was the female lead. The man seemed a little speechless. "But this seems to be a retarded drama. Cut the crap. It's still a brainless drama. At least the handsome main actor is pleasing to the eyes." Chapter 12-14. In the end, the young couple bought the tickets for Dream Seeker. Ningxi didn't know whether to laugh or cry when she saw this scene. "Sigh, I didn't expect my brother to seduce an audience with his looks." Lu Tingxiao ruffled the girl's hair and said nothing. "It will be popular." Ningxi burst into laughter. "Why are you more confident than me?" "Well, boss, are you going to open the back door for us?" "No need." Lu Tingxiao looked confident. Although capital can manipulate the market, it can never reverse the rules of the market. Excessive manipulation and violation of the rules of the market will inevitably lead to a backlash. Ningxi blinked her eyes and nodded repeatedly. She didn't understand. She just didn't understand. Ningxi took the man's arm and chuckled. "I don't know about capital or the market. I only know that water can carry a boat or capsize it. No matter how good the manipulation is, it can't be compared to following the public's will. The audience's choice will ultimately determine the fate of the film." Lu Tingxiao looked at the girl gently. "That's what I mean. You are very smart." "Haha, it's all because of boss's influence." After chatting with Lu Tingxiao, Ningxi was in a better mood. She went to the front desk to buy popcorn and drinks and then went into the screening hall happily, enjoying this rare date. Before entering the screening hall, Ningxi looked at the screening hall next door where I Only Like You was playing. It was about half full. For a night show, this was a very good attendance. Today was the third day of the screening of I Only Like You. The internet was full of discussions about this film, whether good or bad. In short, it was very popular. However, Ningxi paid special attention to it. Unlike the day of the premiere, which was full of good reviews, the ratings and reputation of this film kept declining in the next 2 days. This was also one of the rules of this kind of shoddy commercial film. Under the powerful operation of the distributor, the box office on the first day would basically explode. However, once the audience saw it and had their own evaluation, the real reputation would immediately begin to show. This was absolutely impossible to fake. Do you want to fake the ratings? That would instead cause the audience to lower their scores and scold them even more. An hour ago, Ningxi refreshed the ratings of this movie on Shurring website. In just 2 days, it had dropped from 76 points on the first day to 65 points. There were also a lot of comments on the internet about domestically produced movies like this. However, whether it was the producers or the theaters, they did not care about it at all. This was because everyone was used to the fact that the audience would continue to watch while complaining. All commercial films were of the same quality. If you did not watch this, there was nothing else to watch. In this day and age, it was fine to be scolded. The only scary thing was that there was no one to scold you. You can scold all you want, but the producers will still make money from you. Ningxi and Lu Tingxiao found seats in the last row, from which they could see how many people were in the cinema. When the movie started, Ningxi counted. There were only 7 pitiful people in the entire theater. Other than her and Lu Tingxiao, there was the young couple from earlier, a pair of school-looking girls, and a woman in her 30s in a champagne-colored dress suit. She came alone and sat in the row in front of them. Chapter 12:15. She could understand the couple and the 2 students, but she couldn't help but be curious about the female audience member in the front row who was dressed like an elite. This kind of elite group didn't look like they would watch this kind of teen idol drama, right? However, no one said that elites couldn't watch teen idol dramas. In fact, modern society was so stressful that everyone liked to watch some relaxing and enjoyable dramas after work. The audience of their movie was actually very wide, not just limited to teenagers. She observed the other 2 pairs of audience members. The 2 young couples sat in the right corner. The man didn't seem to be interested in the movie and was completely there to accompany his girlfriend. He buried his head in his phone, and the girl was eating popcorn while looking at the big screen casually. It seemed like she didn't have any expectations. As for the 2 students sitting in the middle, these 2 people brought a lot of food and drinks, and they were already eating nonstop even before the movie started. She didn't know if they were here to watch a movie or to have a picnic. When the movie was about to start, 2 more people came in, a man and a woman. The man was tall and wore sunglasses and a mask. He walked straight to the last row, and she actually knew the woman next to him, Shen Hanshin's agent, Cheng Yanan. Previously, Shen Hanshin wanted to poach her to Fengxing Media and gave her Cheng Yanan's business card, but the devil threw it away. Needless to say, the man next to Cheng Yanan was undoubtedly Shen Hanshin. She didn't expect to see Shen Hanshin coming to watch the premiere in person. Oh no. She couldn't let him find out that she was with Lu Tingxiao. Fortunately, Ningxi and Lu Tingxiao's seats were the most remote, and the 2 people didn't notice them at all. They randomly found 2 seats in the last row and sat down. Ningxi whispered in Lu Tingxiao's ear, "Lu Tingxiao, the 2 people who just came in seemed to be Shen Hanshin and his agent, yeah?" Lu Tingxiao nodded, indicating that he saw them too. Ningxi held her forehead. "What the? There are 9 people in total, and almost half of them are our own people." She was really drunk. She didn't know what to say anymore. Finally, the advertisement on the big screen ended, and the movie began to play. The first scene of the movie was the scene where she gave Shen Hanshin a show of strength when she first acted with him. Because this scene was the first act of the movie, it was very important. The 2 of them had to have an equal aura. At that time, they had been filming for a whole day, and Shen Hanshin was almost killed by her. Later on, because of this, he had always been dissatisfied with her. It was only when he saw her cross-dressing that he realized she was a girl. Now that he thought back to the situation when he was filming, even though it was unpleasant, he still felt nostalgic. It was as if those things had happened just yesterday. In the blink of an eye, the movie had already been released. The young couple in front of them looked at the screen absent-mindedly. The 2 students were like squirrels eating nonstop. The female elite crossed her arms over her chest and did not move at all. Accompanied by the sound of orchestral music, the scene of a banquet appeared on the big screen. At the end of the spiral staircase, 2 men, one in black and one in white, one in front and one behind, one dignified and the other leisurely, were slowly walking down. Halfway down, the man in front turned back and said something to the young man. The camera zoomed in, and the young man raised his eyebrows slightly. He glanced sideways at the man and curled his lips into a faint smile. At that moment, there was a bang. It was as if there was a dazzling firework that exploded in the minds of the audience who saw this scene. Chapter 12:16. What kind of feeling was that? It was a feeling that transcended gender, age, and everything else. The big screen was the biggest test for actors, because even the slightest flaw would be magnified countless times. However, the young man in the movie seemed to be born for the big screen. Everything was perfect and flawless. Shen Hanshin couldn't help but be stunned. Even though the other person in the movie was himself, Even though he had done this scene countless times and knew every detail like the back of his hand, however, when he watched it again as a member of the audience, he was still completely attracted by the young man on the screen. Ah, he's really handsome. He's even more handsome than on the poster. I told you I didn't make the wrong choice. A girl exclaimed in front of him. Then, the girl muttered suspiciously, but the man in the black suit next to her is not bad either. Is he a supporting male character? Shin Hanshin recovered from the amazement. I'm the male lead. The girl's boyfriend also seemed to be in high spirits. I'm a man, but I was captured in seconds just now. That gaze is simply amazing. The two female students in the middle were even more excited than the girl. Oh, so handsome, so handsome. I didn't expect there to be such a handsome newcomer in the entertainment circle. Oh, I feel like I smell a hint of gay love. Me too. Me too. Wow, so gay. They were actually two fujoshis. Although there weren't many people in the theater, everyone was quite representative. Then, the attention of the 5 audience members was obviously focused on the movie. As the movie progressed, when they found out that the woman in the white suit was actually the female lead dressed as a man, there was another wave of excited exclamations in the theater. Ah, that's the female lead. That's actually the female lead. Oh my God. There's actually a woman so handsome. Oh my God. She's not giving us men a way out. Where's my sketchbook? Where's my little notebook? It's over, it's over. Inspiration is gushing out. I feel like I can fight 100 doujinshi from this movie tonight. The girl excitedly took out a sketchbook and a pen from her bag. It seemed like she was an artist. In the next hour or so, there were only a few people in the theater. Except for the female elite in front of Ning Shi, the audience was relatively quiet. The young couple and the 2 female students didn't stop screaming from the beginning to the end. During this period, the 4 of them even apologized to them shyly. They were so excited that they couldn't control themselves anymore. Especially the 2 female students, they would excitedly hug each other and exclaim once every 3 minutes. What was worth mentioning was that 2 audience members came in midway. They seemed to have come late, and their faces were full of regret. They even muttered that they had to come back tomorrow to watch it again. After the movie. That night, the female artist continued to crazily promote Dreamseeker that she watched tonight on her QQ Space, WeChat Moments, Weibo, Twitter, and other places. She even added her own doujinshi. I found a really good movie tonight. It's called Dreamseeker. You guys have to go watch it. I must go and see it. I must go and see it. Important things must be repeated 3 times. I believe you will come back and thank me after reading it. The female artist was a little famous in the circle. She often drew doujinshi from popular movies or novels. She had a large number of loyal fans. Chapter 12-17. After seeing their favorite late-night Amway movie, the fans were all very curious. Wow, Darren is actually recommending a movie. And it's a domestic TV series. Didn't Darren say he would never watch domestic TV series again? Fuck. I went to search for the trailer for Dreamseeker. The female commander is going crazy. The plot is also very interesting. I'll definitely watch it tomorrow. I'll go too. I don't have anything I want to watch recently. Darren's recommendation will definitely not go wrong. The female painter's boyfriend's status updates were all about lovey-dovey. Tonight, he posted something related to a movie. I watched a movie today. It's called Dreamseeker. The female lead in the movie is super awesome. She can switch between a goddess and a male god with just some makeup. Actually, when a girl is handsome, men really don't have anything to do with her. Especially those who just finished watching I Only Like You. I suggest you watch this Dreamseeker. You'll know that without comparison, there's no harm. There were 2 pictures attached to this status update. They were 2 pictures taken directly from the movie. One was the female lead in female clothing, and the other was the female lead in male clothing. As for the 2 female students, they lived near the theater. They had already made plans to come over another day to watch it. Of course, they were also recommending it in their various groups. The The same thing happened to many of the audiences who happened to see the movie today. Although the number of people who watched the movie on the first day was very low, almost everyone who watched the movie began to spread it by word of mouth after they came back. Like a spark, it quietly spread to every corner. After the movie, the woman in the champagne-colored dress left the theater expressionlessly. The woman walked briskly as she immediately made a phone call. "Hello, Deputy Manager Zhang. General Manager Fong. It's so late. What can I do for you?" A man's respectful voice came from the other end of the phone. "What's the current screening rate for Dream Seeker?" The woman went straight to the point. Dream Seeker? The person on the other end of the phone probably didn't have any impression of it and couldn't remember which movie it was. Shin Mion's new movie, the woman reminded. Director Shin's new movie? The person on the other end of the phone finally remembered. "Please wait a moment. I'll check. I found it. The screening rate is about 5%. The woman frowned. "So low?" The person on the other end of the phone hurriedly said, "Mr. Fong, you might not know this, but although Shin Mion is directing this film, it's a low-budget production with only a few million yuan in investment. The cast is all new faces, and the only female lead who has worked before is also playing a female lead for the first time. There's no cast, there's no topic, and there's no big company. There's no way the box office can hold up. The 5% is only for Shin Mion's sake. Have you seen this film?" the woman asked. The person on the other end of the phone was stunned for a moment. "No, but I've definitely considered all the factors. As professionals, they would have a basic prediction before the screening of a movie and then estimate the number of screenings. However, nowadays, everyone only paid attention to the movie, and almost no one actually watched the content of the movie. This was already the norm in the industry, and there was nothing strange about it." After hearing this, the woman did not say anything. She said directly, "Tomorrow, increase the screening rate of this film to 60%. Chapter 12:18. What? How much? An incredulous voice came from the other end of the line. Manager Fong, did you make a mistake? Or are you talking about Director Zhang Kongda's I Only Like You? Did you accidentally mix up the two films? The woman's voice was calm. I'm not mistaken. It's Shin Mion's Dream Seeker. But that's impossible. Currently, 50% of the screenings for I Only Like You are already available. How could 60% be given to Dream Seeker? Do you need me to teach you how to reduce the screenings for I Only Like You? I want to see the new schedule tomorrow morning. The woman said resolutely and then hung up the phone. On the way home, Ningxi was sitting in the front passenger seat. She propped her head up with her hand and looked at Lu Tingxiao. Although the audience is small, the reaction is quite good. The entire movie had a breaking point almost every few minutes. If it's a high attendance, the effect will be great. But the female audience member in front of us is so calm. She doesn't have any reaction. Does she not like this type of film? Lu Tingxiao glanced at the girl in the rearview mirror and said, "Whether she likes it or not, you'll find out tomorrow when you pay attention to the screenings for Dream Seeker." Ningxi was startled. Huaying screenings? What do you mean? Lu Tingxiao said, "That woman is the general manager of Huaying, Fangjiwe." Ningxi was dumbfounded. "Damn, she's the general manager of Huaying Cinema? Why didn't you tell me just now?" Lu Tingxiao said, "I didn't see her face." Okay. Knowing that the mysterious female audience member was Fang Jiayue, Ningxi was a little nervous. "Sigh, I don't know if she likes it or not. It'll be terrible if she doesn't. The screenings for this film are pitifully low to begin with." "Oh, I'm so nervous." Boss, do you think she'll like it?" Lu Tingxiao said, "Yes." Why are you so sure?" Although Ningxi was happy to hear that, she was still curious as to why Lu Tingxiao was so sure. Lu Tingxiao glanced at the girl and said meaningfully, "If the general manager of Huaying is a man, there's a 70% chance he'll like this film. If it's a woman, there's a 100% chance." Ningxi was speechless. Thank you so much for thinking so highly of my flirting skills." The next day. Today was the fourth day of I Only Like You screening, and the second day of Dream Seeker screening. On the internet, I Only Like You had become a hot topic. During this time, as long as people talked about movies, they would talk about this domestic urban drama with the highest investment this year. As for the box office, it had always been very strong. At present, it had broken 300 million yuan, and the screening rate of the major cinemas had always been high. Naturally, everyone was willing to give more screenings to movies that were profitable. The only one that had a strange screening schedule that was out of place with the other cinema chains was Huaying Cinema Chain. At this time, in the conference room of the Shadow Company's building, the company's top management was in the middle of a meeting. In the meeting, everyone's expressions were not very good. Fang Jiayue's order last night had caused a huge uproar in the company today. Chapter 12:19. Inside the conference room of Shadow Cinema. The leading shareholder questioned fiercely on the spot. General Manager Fang, all the cinema chains know that Zhangkangda's films are the most profitable. I don't know what kind of consideration you have for you to make such a ridiculous decision. You've severely reduced the ranking of Zhangkangda's films in all the cinema chains, and forcibly increased the ranking of Dream Seekers, which has no popularity at all, to such an outrageous figure of 60%. I hope you can give us a reasonable explanation for this. Otherwise, we won't be convinced. The other shareholders and senior executives nodded in agreement as they listened to him. Even if you believe in Shin Mion's ability and think highly of this film, a ranking of 10% is already very good, but 60%? You're simply messing around. Even the Hollywood blockbuster, A Life and Death Struggle, only had a screening rate of 60%. What right does this sloppy comedy have to have such a screening rate? General Manager Fang, we acknowledge your professionalism, and we also acknowledge that you've successfully predicted many dark horses and unpopular films in the past. But this time, you've really been too hasty. Today's data is enough to prove that this decision was a huge mistake. Dream Seekers' occupancy rate is currently less than 10%. Just today alone, Shadow Cinema has already suffered heavy losses. This is simply sending consumers directly to other cinemas. We request that the screening rate be adjusted immediately to prevent further losses. Because Fang Jiayue did not accept red packets or attend any dinner parties, there were many shareholders and executives who had opinions about her, not only in the industry, but also in the company. They felt that she was limiting the company's development. Opening a cinema was to make money. What was the use of just having a good reputation? Even if she successfully excavated 10 high-quality, unpopular films, the profits would not be comparable to the profits of a commercial blockbuster. This caused Shadow Cinema's performance to hover around the middle of the industry, never able to rush to the top. Deputy General Manager Zhang Yong looked at Fang Jiayue, who was being attacked by the shareholders. He was gloating in his heart, but on the surface, he looked like he was in a difficult position. When I received President Fang's call last night, I was also very surprised and tried to persuade him, but President Fang's attitude was very firm. I could only choose to believe in President Fang's judgment. In the end, I didn't expect today's data. Sigh. President Fang, what is your attitude on this matter? You should at least give us an explanation. Seeing that Fang Jiayue did not speak, the people below began to impatiently urge her. On the main seat, Fang Jiayue's gaze swept across everyone calmly. Then, she said, I have received everyone's questions and doubts. Just as everyone heaved a sigh of relief, Fang Jiayue continued, however, I do not intend to change my decision. What? You still don't want to change after suffering such a loss? What is this woman trying to do? Do you even care about the rights and interests of the shareholders? Does she think the company belongs to her alone? In the face of everyone's condemnation, Fang Jiayue continued, in 10 days, if it is proven that I made the wrong decision, I will resign as the general manager. As soon as Fang Jiayue finished speaking, the crowd burst into an uproar. Especially Vice President Zhang Yong. His eyes were filled with joy when he heard this. If Fang Jiayue stepped down, then it was very likely that it would be his turn. Chapter 12:20. He had had enough of being suppressed by this woman. Not only did she not accept bribes, but she also demanded that her subordinates comply. He could only watch helplessly as his peers reaped the benefits. Unfortunately, Fang Jiayue had a good reputation in the industry. Although her company was not among the top, it was always in the top 10. He could not do anything to her. He did not expect Fang Jiayue to do something so brainless this time. Heh, what a joke. 10 days? That unpopular film would at most be the stuff of a 3-day tour. 3 days later, it might not even have a 1% occupancy rate. By that time, all the screening halls would be empty. That scene, TSK, was really something to look forward to. However, he still had to thank this film. It made Fang Jiayue fall for it for some reason, and it also gave him the opportunity to rise up. After Fang Jiayue said this, she turned around and left the conference room, not caring what the shareholders thought of her. If this had been a few years ago, she would have given them a long explanation and analysis of the film and told them why she was so optimistic about it. But now, she would not waste her breath. Because these people did not understand movies, no matter how much she said, it would be like playing the lute to a cow. Yes, most of the people in the television industry knew nothing about movies. It was this group of people who controlled the film market and toyed with the taste of the audience, so that Chinese movies could not be compared to foreign movies. As a result, foreign blockbusters were always the ones making money in China. At the same time, Zhang Kongda was talking to the producer, Wu Kai. "Old Wu, how is it? Because our box office performance was very good in the past 3 days. The screening rate at all the major cinemas is still very high. Our film has the highest screening rate of all the films in the same period." But what? Zhang Kongda frowned. "But there is one cinema chain that is an exception." "Oh? Which one?" Zhang Kongda asked with interest. Wu Kai answered, "Huaying Cinema Line. When I was compiling the data, I found that Huaying Cinema reduced our screening rate to 5% and increased Dream Seekers to 60%. "What? How much did you say?" Zhang Kongda looked surprised. 60%. Zhang Kongda's face darkened. This Fang Jiayue, is she crazy? Could it be that she's taking revenge on me because I'm the only one who didn't pay attention to her? Heh, how interesting. Wu Kai shook his head and said, "Based on Fang Jiayue's personality, I don't think she would do such a thing. This might seem inconceivable to others, but it's quite normal for her. She often did this kind of thing. She would suddenly give a very high screening rate to unpopular movies, but this time, it was especially high. Those films that she's interested in have quite a high probability of being an upset. Otherwise, she wouldn't have gotten the title of China's #1. Hee hee, I'm afraid her reputation will be ruined this time." Zhang Kongda sneered. Wu Kai also had a look of ridicule on his face. "That's for sure. I've checked Huaying's figures today. They've given us such a high screening rate, but the attendance rate for Dream Seeker is terrible. Not many people are going to watch it. To be honest, I really don't understand either. Even if this kind of unpopular film is popular because of its good reputation, it's still relatively unpopular. No matter how popular it is, it can't even compare to 1/10 of a commercial film. She's simply wasting her resources by giving these films slots." Chapter 12:21. Zhang Kongda looked pleased. She made such a big fuss this time. "I don't believe that Huaying's shareholders won't have any objections. I don't think she'll be able to stay on as the general manager for long." Just as Zhang Kongda and Wu Kai confidently predicted that Fang Jiayue would definitely fail this time, on the internet, a huge energy with great potential was quietly fermenting and spreading. Time passed in the blink of an eye. In the blink of an eye, it was the 3rd day of the screening of Dream Seekers. Huaying's occupancy rate was still not high, but it did not fall below 1% as Zhang Yong had expected. In fact, it even increased quite a bit. At night, after a busy day, people returned home from work and casually scrolled through Weibo. Suddenly, they discovered that, on the Weibo trending list, there was a film that no one was familiar with. Its name was Dream Seekers. The Weibo headline was posted by a girl who was painting hands. This Weibo post was excitedly promoting a movie called Dream Seekers and accompanied it with a doujinshi manga that she had drawn. The content of the manga was a classic hilarious scene from the movie. The girl's Weibo followers were less than 30,000. In fact, it was not a lot, but because the clip in the manga was so loving, the number of reposts snowballed, especially because a few famous people in the circle also reposted it, saying that they had seen the movie. While promoting it, they all began to draw doujinshi. Just in the top 10 trending lists on Weibo, there were 3 famous artists whose Dream Seekers doujinshi were trending. Just like that, Dream Seekers began to spread in the artist circle, and then spread unstoppably to other circles. By 10 o'clock in the evening, the trailer posted on the official Weibo of Dream Seekers had been pushed to the top trending list by enthusiastic netizens. Below it, there were voices saying that they would go to the cinema tomorrow to watch the movie. Ow, 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 ow. Oh my god. Why did I only find out about this movie now? Just the trailer alone is enough to make my wolf blood boil. I'm already bent like a mosquito coil. If anyone touches me, I'll go to heaven. What does it feel like to be turned gay by a handsome man? Go watch Dream Seekers and you'll know. Hehe. Those who have already watched it in the cinema 3 times say that the female lead is too fucking amazing. She's already bent like a boomerang. Wallcracked recommends you guys to watch it. It's unbelievable that this film was so cold before. Is there even a need to ask? This film is all directed by newcomers, and the promotion is low-key, so naturally, there isn't much attention. It's not like a certain drama that's currently airing, where people buy trending searches and even spend their own money to buy box office tickets. They've squeezed out all the really good movies. A few days ago, I praised Liang Bichin's retarded drama to the skies. Please go and watch Dream Seeker. You will hear the sounds of pa pa pa. That's the sound of a slap on your face. Just like that, Dream Seekers suddenly appeared out of nowhere with unstoppable momentum, exploding in every corner of social media. Initially, netizens who had no idea about this drama felt that it was pretty good after watching the trailer, while others felt that it was just a melodramatic comedy and that the comments were too exaggerated. But no matter what, because of the high ratings on the internet, the public's curiosity had been aroused. Most people said that they must go to the cinema tomorrow to see what was going on. Chapter 1222. In the past, when the internet was not yet widespread, the public could only get information through newspapers, television, and radio stations. However, such media were easily controlled by organizations or even individuals. Now, it was the era of the internet. The number of netizens in China was as high as 800 million, and all kinds of new media were springing up like mushrooms after a rain. The power of the internet was beyond imagination and extremely difficult to control. After just one night of fermenting on the internet, the next day, a rather large number of audiences walked into the cinema for a low-budget, unhyped film like Dream Seekers that had almost no attention before. Once word of mouth spread, it would be much more effective than spending tens of millions on marketing and publicity. Late at night, at a cinema in the center of the imperial city. It was already past 9 o'clock in the evening. In the past, at this time, after the primetime movie had ended, the entire cinema would be almost empty. However, today was unusual. It was already this time, not a holiday, and there were no events, but the number of people in the cinema did not decrease. Instead, it increased. In the cinema, a group of young men and women gathered in groups of 3 or 4, discussing something enthusiastically. Usually, there's not even a shadow of a person at this time. Why are there so many people tonight? I thought it would be just the 2 of us, a girl said to her companion. Her companion was also a young girl. She looked at the people around her and said, "Many of them must be here for dream seekers like us, right? I heard a lot of people talking about it just now. The trailer is really good. I hope the actual movie won't be disappointed. It's just that there are too few showtimes for this film. Other than the one in the early morning, there's only this one in the middle of the night. We have to come here at night. Yeah, it'll be 12 o'clock after watching it. We still have to work tomorrow. We came all the way here for this film. If it's not good, it'll be a big loss." Not far away, a middle-aged man in a suit walked to the cashier with his hands behind his back. Manager Zhou. Good evening, Manager Zhou. Because there were many customers, the two cashiers were busy dealing with them. When they saw the middle-aged man, they hurriedly made time to greet him. The manager, whose surname was Zhou, waved his hand, indicating that she did not need to worry about him and continue with her work. It was not until 2200 hours that the two cashiers were finally done with their work. At this time, the manager walked up to ask, looking very satisfied. Tonight's customer flow is not bad. Is the cinema having an event recently? The two cashiers shook their heads when they heard that. One of them then said, Manager, there's no activity recently. What's going on? Zhou Jiha asked. I took a look. More than 90% of the customers who came tonight are here to see the Dream Seeker. Another cashier replied. Zhou Jiha frowned when he heard that. Dream Seeker? Is it the one that's been discussed on the internet recently? Yes, there weren't many people watching the movie for the first 2 days. It seems like it became popular overnight. The cashier explained, Manager, it's not just the evening show. The attendance rate for the earliest show today is also very high. Usually, a hall can only seat a few people, but today, half of the seats are occupied. Another cashier said excitedly. Zhou Jiha had naturally seen some of the content related to this film on the internet. When he heard this, he revealed a thoughtful expression. Chapter 12:23. After chatting with the two employees for a while, Zhou Jiha personally went to the theater for Dream Seekers to take a look. At a glance, he saw that the attendance rate for the evening screening was even higher than the morning screening. The theater, which could accommodate about 100 people, was almost 70% to 80% full. With his many years of experience, he vaguely judged that this film had the potential to be a big hit. It was a pity that it clashed with Zhang Kangda's film. After leaving the theater, Zhou Jiha pondered for a long time, but in the end, he still made a call. He called the manager of another theater to get some information. Hello, Director Zhang. Director Zhou, you're calling me so late. Don't tell me it's also about Dream Seekers? A teasing voice came from the other end of the phone. Also, it seems like someone has already looked for you. Zhou Jiha raised his eyebrows. Isn't that so? I just spoke to Director Zhao and Director Liang. Then, what do you guys say? Are we going to change the screening schedule or not? Zhou Jiha asked the most important question. Director Zhou, the quality of Shun Mion's film is indeed not bad. If it was invested by a big company like in the past, we would definitely promote it. But the situation with this film, in this day and age, things like popularity on the internet are very fragile. The enthusiasm of netizens comes and goes quickly. How long can something that becomes popular overnight last? What's more, we have an agreement with Zhang Kangda. If it was any other film that became popular, it wouldn't hurt us to increase the screening schedule. But Shunmian, she's Zhang Kangda's archenemy. All right, Director Zhang, I understand. Zhou Jiha listened and hung up. It was not worth it to offend Zhang Kangda and his backer for an unknown future of Dream Seekers. Actually, it was easy to decide whether or not to change the screening schedule of Dream Seekers. They could just follow the direction of Cinema of 10,000. If the industry leaders did not make a move, they naturally would not make a move either. At the moment, it seemed that Cinema of 10,000 was completely on Zhang Kangda's side and would definitely not make a move the next day. Dream Seekers was even more popular on the internet than the day before. The rating on Shurring website was as high as 86, and the positive rating was almost 100%. Everyone who had seen the film gave it high praise. The comments on all the film review websites and social media sites were being refreshed at a rapid pace. Because of the recommendation from many people on the internet, I risked not being able to get up from work the next day to watch Dream Seekers with my best friend in the middle of the night. In the end, it's really, really good. Not to mention 10 p.m. Even if it was in the wee hours of the morning, it would not be a loss. I've already made plans with my best friend to watch the second time tomorrow. Dearest, from today onwards, I have a new Prince Charming. Chapter 12:24. I was mesmerized by the scene where he kissed the female lead on the balcony. I'm going to the cinema again for Lin Yu's sake. Oh, I'm also on the female lead in Lin Yu's side. Lin Yu's aura is super strong. He dotes on the female lead very much. Every time the female lead is in trouble, he's always by her side and helps her cover up her identity. What a pity. Why didn't the female lead choose Lin Yu in the end? It's not just the male lead and female lead, but also the male supporting characters. The female lead's close friend Ning Xiaoming and the male lead's funny best friend Jiang Shaohai are all very likable. Ning Xiaoming's interaction with the female lead is also very cute. Jiang Shaohai is the joke of the whole movie. I didn't have much hope when I first went to watch it, but I didn't expect it to be so good. To be honest, it's been a long time since I've seen a movie with a good script and all the actors' acting skills. This is the conscience of the industry. I recommend everyone to watch it with 5 stars. You won't be disappointed. The performances of the actors in this movie are all very good, but it's obvious that the core inspiration of the whole movie is the female lead. I only found out later that the female lead is Meng Chang'e from The World. I've been paying attention to her since she was filming The World. She's definitely not a pretty face like the rumors say. She's definitely good at acting. There's another very important thing. Didn't you all notice that the director of this movie is Shin Mian? Shin Mian made Stars, Sun, Moon, and Love in the Future. These years, Shin Mian's movies have been getting worse and worse, and I've been disappointed many times. But this time, I'm really very excited. Shin Mian has finally returned. I really want to watch it from what you guys are saying, but it's so annoying. Why is the screening of Our Dream Seekers not early in the morning or late at night? Workaholics can't watch it normally. We can only wait for the rest day. Actually, you can go and complain to the staff of the cinema or call to complain and ask them to arrange more screenings. If there are many people requesting it, the cinema will usually increase the number of screenings. While the discussion about Dream Seekers was in full swing on the internet, in a private room of a high-class hotel in the imperial capital, Zhang Kangde and Wu Kai called a few of the lead actors to accompany them and invited the managers of the major cinema chains. Their purpose was obvious, to ensure that they would not be affected by the comments online. After 3 rounds of drinks, under Zhang Kangde's various sugar-coated bombs and hints, a few cinema managers, led by Cui Zhihao, the manager of House of 10,000 Cinemas, expressed that Zhang Kangde's film would definitely not be affected and the screening rate of Dream Seeker would definitely not change. After all, after spending so much money, they had to abide by the rules of the industry. Director Zhang, don't worry. I've seen this kind of method many times. The comments online are all interspersed with real and fake ones. Most of them are fake. In less than 3 days, this virtual fire will die down. That's right. Shin Mian is obviously struggling on her deathbed. However, 3 days later, over the past 3 days, the number of people watching Dream Seeker did not decrease at all. Instead, it became more and more popular. With less than 10% of the screenings in the major cinemas, the daily box office sales kept getting higher and higher. Finally, on this Saturday, the box office sales actually broke 100 million. What did it mean to have such a high box office sales with such a low screening rate? It meant that the attendance rate of Dream Seeker was shockingly high. All the cinemas, regardless of whether it was early in the morning or late at night, were all full. Chapter 12:25. At the same time, the crazy suggestions and complaints from customers had almost drowned all the major cinemas. Every day, countless customers strongly requested to increase the number of screenings of Dream Seeker. Manager, what should we do? I've already received hundreds of calls today, requesting to increase the number of screenings for Dream Seekers. The same conversation was taking place in the offices of the major cinema companies. However, due to the pressure from Zhang Kongda's side, all the managers had reached a united front. In the face of the customers' requests, they insisted on not changing the screening rate and still tried to force the customers to watch I Only Like You. The consequence of this was, by the weekend of the fourth day, all the netizens' love for dream seekers, as well as their anger towards stupid movies and cinemas, had reached its peak. While the popularity of Dream Seekers soared, Zhang Kongda's film was scolded by netizens. Liang Biqin, give me back my box office money. Before watching Dream Seeker, he didn't have such an intuitive feeling. After watching Dream Seeker, he realized that something that was shot in 10 days was not a movie at all. It was just a tool to make money. Liang Biqin's melodramatic comedy is completely vulgar in terms of aesthetics. It's not funny at all, and the audience is so embarrassed. Watching Dream Seeker was simply a spiritual cleansing. The trailer of I Only Like You gave off the feeling that we were a vulgar comedy. After watching it, I realized that it was not as good as the trailer. What a shitty movie. Is it not good to be alive? Why did she want to watch Liang Biqin's movie? What the hell? Why is the screening rate of Dream Seeker still so low? I wanted to book a ticket for Dream Seeker, but all I saw was Liang Biqin's retarded movie. There have been so many recommendations recently, and Dream Seekers is so popular. Why is the screening rate still so low? Are the people in charge of those cinemas blind? Is there anything you don't understand? It was obviously an under-the-table operation. Which one of those managers didn't get paid? Fuck. I don't know if I should say motherfucker. The stagnation of Hua Nation's film industry was caused by these people. Damn it. It's fine that you like to eat shit, but you're forcing us to eat shit as well. This was the Chinese film market. Get up. Those who didn't want to eat shit. Everyone protested together. No one should go to the cinema to watch that stupid movie. That's right. Boycott brainless movies. Retard movie. Get out of the film industry. Zhang Kongda did everything he could to arrange the release date to be the same as a Dream Seeker. However, he never expected that in the end. Not only would he not be able to squeeze a Dream Seeker to death, but he would also be caught in his own trap. Compared to a Dream Seeker, his own film was nothing good at all. The funniest thing was that Zhang Kongda had spent so much money to hype up I Only Like You, and now it was all to pave the way for Dream Seeker. This was because, on the internet, as long as I Only Like You was mentioned, someone would definitely mention a Dream Seeker as a comparison, causing the popularity of Dream Seeker to rise rapidly by stepping on the shoulders of I Only Like You on the weekend. I Only Like You, which was scheduled for prime time in the major cinemas, was deserted. There were only a few people in the huge screening hall. However, when it came to the unpopular morning and afternoon showings, the entire theater would come alive again. As long as it was in the hall where Dream Seekers was being shown, the attendance rate would be as high as 100%. The entire theater was filled to the brim, and it was even difficult to get a ticket. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.